Actually, I would like to tell all viewers that last year, Sajal sir himself had started a free initiative for people who had appeared for interview but couldn't make it to the final list. So in that particular initiative, he had telephonic conversations to guide and tell value addition in general studies paper, especially how to be more relevant in that particular paper. And I was fortunate enough to enroll in that free initiative, and it actually helped me. I got valuable feedback from him, and in this way, I think I benefited from Civilsdaily platform.
When you didn't saw that, because that feeling, right? When you control F and the feeling and the sound comes, no results. That is the most horrible sound you will ever hear in your life. So I mean, you are from BTech background and your optional is very unusual, agriculture, because you are the first person I am seeing who has taken agriculture as the optional and who does not have agriculture as their core subject in their graduation. So what exactly motivated you to take agriculture?
कौन नहीं चाहता कि उसका मेंटर एक यूपीएससी रैंकर हो। 2021 के फाइनल रिजल्ट्स में सिविल्स डेली आईएएस के 200 से भी ज्यादा सिलेक्शंस हैं। गाइस, आई एम गोइंग टू कनेक्ट यू 1-to-1 विद सिविल्स डेली रैंकर्स फॉर फ्री। दीज रैंकर विल प्रिपेयर अ टाइम टेबल एंड पर्सनलाइज्ड प्लान फॉर यू। ये टॉपर्स आपको एग्जैक्टली वही बताएंगे कि कौन सी बुक फॉलो करनी है, कौन सा चैप्टर पढ़ना है। दे विल गाइड यू इन आंसर राइटिंग, मॉक्स एंड एक्सेसिंग देम। डोंट मिस दिस गोल्डन अपॉर्चुनिटी टू गेट मेंटर्ड बाय अ रैंकर।
Hello guys, welcome to another session of Unheard, where we interact with UPSC toppers, and this time we have with us Anay. Anay scored rank 32 in this year's UPSC Civil Service exam. So Anay belongs to a very small town in Maharashtra, Sholapur, and because of her mother's frequent transfers, he did his schooling from very small places in Maharashtra, and he has been a throughout scholar all his life, and he cracked the exam in his second attempt. So first of all, I would like to congratulate Anay for your success. You have literally made us proud. You have made Maharashtra proud, and you have made your family proud. So first of all, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. And yes, hello and namaste to all viewers.
So first question to you is ki when the results came, so what did you do? Did you search your name, scroll down करके या फिर control F करके देखा था?
Actually, yeah, I had this thought before the results, and so I had decided that I'll scroll down till 100, and after that I'll do control F. So yes, I did that. I did scroll the list, and yeah, I was fortunate to see my name.
So what was the reaction? I mean, क्या लगा? ऐसा तो नहीं लगा कि यार किसी और का नाम तो नहीं है? Because I had so many of my students जिनके नाम जो थे, so like one of my student, he had a very common name. So he first celebrated, and then after that he realized that it's not his name. So with you, what happened? Like when you saw the name, what was the reaction at that time?
Yeah, actually that was a big surprise for me as well, because I had an idea that this year I have given my best, but then to see the name in the list, and that too at that point, at that number, yeah, it was a big surprise for me too. And yeah, that's it. So but it was a good feeling, and yeah.
So how has your life changed since then? I mean, it's been 2 weeks. How are the things? What is the reaction of your family, your relatives, your friends?
Yeah. Actually, everyone is like really very happy, and there are many people who have been with me through all these 2.5 years which I have given into preparation, and they all actually, more than me, they took a sigh of relief that अच्छा अब निकल गया, अब हमको भी थोड़ा आराम है, अब हमको ज्यादा चिंता करने की अभी ये नहीं नीड नहीं है, because इसका हो at least now he's into some हो गया अभी selection, so they were more happy than me. And yes, friends का support हमेशा से था, before whenever they used to call me, actually वो बात ही ऐसे करते थे, अच्छा कलेक्टर साहब बोलो. So it was very much motivating at that time when there's a pressure of exam, and at those points such motivation is very much needed. So yeah, they all were happier than me actually.
So you had a background in BTech, And so what really, I mean, is there anybody in your family who is also from civil service? So what exactly motivated you to appear for UPSC?
Yeah. Uh, Actually, I did my BTech and then I took a job. And after going there, I realized that the opportunity is much bigger in civil services, and I had intrinsic motivation as well because I thought what I know, what skills I have, I could use them in a better way in civil services, and I actually aligned to what is required here. I really thought that I could do better here. And also my mother and my grandfather, maternal grandfather, they had been my mother is still in judicial services of Maharashtra, and my grandfather was also there. So that motivation was there from beginning. So yeah, but the spark that came was when I took a job in a company after my BTech.
So now in your family, you have somebody who will implement the law and somebody who will interpret the law. So that is a very combination of that. So, I mean, what has been your biggest challenge? I mean, in this 3 years journey of your, preparation, there are a lot of ups and downs, there are a lot of emotional anxiety, breakdown, and all these things. So that happens. So what is your main challenge that you faced in these 3 years?
Yeah. Uh, yeah, it's very true about the ups and downs in the entire journey. And the biggest challenge that I feel I felt was we actually sometimes we actually ought to know. We are very eager to know that am I doing the right thing, or will this get me there? And the that support that is needed at that times कि मैं जो कर रहा हूँ वो सच में इससे कुछ होगा, या ये सच में जो कर रहा हूँ वो सही है या नहीं. This question troubles a lot, and I think it happens with everyone. Many people get lost also in this journey because the syllabus is vast, and there's actually no one way to get into to approach this exam. So that one struggle, that one challenge is that I felt many times, that whether I'm going the right way or not. And I think that is I think very normal to all.
So when last year you gave the interview and your name was not in the list, I mean, the feelings were really, it was a setback, right? That, coming to the last stage and then starting again from prelims. I mean, you must have been devastated last year when when you didn't saw that, because that feeling, right? When you control F and the feeling and the sound comes, no results. That is the most horrible sound you will ever hear in your life. So, I mean, how did you motivated yourself again after the last year's result? What were the feelings? What was your reaction? How did you responded to that?
Yes, yeah, it's true that last year when the name was not there, and I was actually hopeful, and it's actually a natural instinct for everyone to be hopeful, to get the name in the list. But yes, it was a kind of setback. But then to practically see, we had no time to think on it because prelims was just 15 days away, and I had not studied enough for the prelims like I did before. So there was a pressure of prelims also. कि अब नहीं तो अब prelims तो देना ही पड़ेगा कुछ भी करके. So that I didn't feel demotivated for long. I just had that single day, and next day I started for prelims. And after a couple of days, when the mark sheet came, actually, I saw that मुझे ज़्यादा number कम नहीं है. When I saw some toppers mark sheets who had scored well good ranks, I saw कि अच्छा हर सब्जेक्ट में पाँच सात मार्क्स बढ़ा लूंगा तो शायद मेरा भी हो जाएगा. So that motivated me a lot. I had less marks, I agree that. But then when I compared my mark sheet with someone else's who had cleared the exam that year, it motivated me a lot कि मुझे बस 5 नंबर बढ़ाने हर सब्जेक्ट में, and that I can do this year. So yes, that kept me going.
So, I mean, you are from BTech background and your optional is very unusual, agriculture, because you are the first person I am seeing who has taken agriculture as the optional and who does not have agriculture as their, core subject in their graduation. So what exactly motivated you to take agriculture? I mean, there are so many safe optionals, or what we call as evergreen optionals, like geography, pol science, sociology. What motivated you to take that risky optional?
Actually, I had interest in agriculture since beginning, and I have completed my schooling from rural background. So there, people used to have discussions about agriculture, ये हो रहा है, वो हो रहा है. But I was very unfamiliar with those terms and those discussions. So that interest I had developed then. And when it came to civil services and choosing optionals, I was more comfortable with science optionals. And therefore, I had shortlisted three of them: mathematics, chemistry, and agriculture. And because I was to self-study, I found agriculture more doable uh, at that time. So I decided to go with it. And that's
So, so it means that those, so I mean, for aspirants, it means that those who don't have a background in agriculture, still they can take agriculture and they can score marks. It's not something which only the core experts can do it, right?
Uh, right. I think the most important thing is one should have confidence that I can do this, because I did face many struggles while completing the syllabus, because there are highly technical terms, especially in plant genetics, plant breeding, which a person with who has background would have. It would have been much easier for that person. It was very difficult for me at that time, and so, but yes, if you have confidence and one can feel comfortable that yes, this is where I can do it, and uh, I'm ready to I'm ready to strive for it, then yes, it's a doable subject. And I have seen people scoring more than 300 as well. I didn't score 300, but yes, I have seen people who have scored more than 300.
Okay, so it means that most of the people who only go around these evergreen optionals. So my advice to them is, as Anay has also said, that you can also explore these offbeat optionals. Also, they are also high scoring, and you don't need domain expertise to actually take these optionals. So, what changes did you made in your preparation in this attempt compared to last attempt? What changes did you make?
As I said, I was short of few numbers in mains written examination. So I had to make changes in that particular sections only. And when I talk about mains written, I had to focus more on the general studies papers, because I had scored less than average what people had scored. So I tried to make more value additions to those papers, uh, especially in GS 1, 2, 3, and ethics. Most importantly, ethics, because I had scored terribly low last year. So I think I made value additions. I learned how to write more relevant answers, especially in ethics. I developed my own I can call it as a formula for it. And yeah, that I think that worked for me this time.
So, coming to answer writing, I mean, there are a lot of aspirants who actually, ignore this part, and who usually think that after, prelims, they will start with answer writing. So what do you think? I mean, when should you, or when should an aspirant start an answer writing? I mean, should they start answer writing from the beginning itself, or should they wait for the pre-result and then after that, they should start?
I think this depends a lot on the stage in which an aspirant is, because some are very comfortable in writing answers, good answers, answer writing skill basically that's intrinsic to many people. And I think I was more comfortable with it. So I did start after prelims. But yes, I had prepared the content before the prelims, and I wrote answers for agriculture, because I knew the optional I have to prepare well. So I did answer writing for agriculture before prelims. But yes, for mains, I did start after prelims, but then I wrote answers every day. Each and every day, I wrote 5 to 10 answers, and without break. So if you're ready to do it after prelims, then you'll have to do it every day without fail, and you'll have to write more as much as possible. So yeah, but that depends. Yeah.
And you have to do it on time, right? I mean, you don't have to take like 4 hours or 5 hours. I have seen many of the students, even this year also, they were submitting the copy after 5 hours, and they were writing so well, and they thought that the exam mein jayenge to ho jayega 3 घंटे में.
No,
So it usually,
exactly.
yes.
The exam has the struggle is basically because of two reasons. There are two constraints in the examination. One is the constraint of time and constraint of knowledge, because there's no end to the syllabus that and the question that can be asked. So it's not that if I do well in one, the other gets automatically sorted. We'll have to balance both the constraints. We'll have to manage time as well as knowledge. Only then we can write what the commission expects from us and score a good what commission needs from us.
Achha, coming to another important aspect which many aspirants face is note making. So, do you think that you have to make your own personal notes, or all these GS compilations of various institutes, they are sufficient for the exam?
I do think that note making is important, but then it's also important what you write in those notes because and for me personally, I made notes for value additions for all the GS papers. For example, ethics में आपको examples लिखने होंगे, ethics में आपको कोई quotes अच्छे लगते हैं वो लिखना होगा. International relations में there are quotes by various leaders by honorable foreign ministers when during his speech in the UNSC. So you can write these things in the notes. You can also quote data, definitions which need to be by heart because exam we don't have time to think then and there and write the definition, make up our own definition and write there. So it's always good to prepare those definitions, and therefore it's also good to write them in notes and keep those notes so handy that you learn them by heart. And when it comes to optional, I think it's important to extensively make notes for the optional. And yeah, for me, if I talk about agriculture, I picked up every line from the subject, which is given in paragraph format. So every point has to be picked up and notes has to be written and then connect them to the PYQs and make the notes in question answer format because that helps more when we start revising the optional. So yes, note making is important according to me.
Okay. So one more thing is with respect to essay. Essay has changed over the years. There was a time when you had very clear-cut essays, but now the essays have become very philosophical. And interpretation has become really important because if you don't interpret them well, I mean, I have seen so many of my students who scored really well in other subjects, but they got 90, 91 in essay. And because of that, they either got low ranks or they just missed the bus. So how do you think, I mean, what did you do for essay? I mean, did you write some essays? How did you interpret these philosophical essays?
Yes. I think in philosophical essays, it is very important to catch the theme that the commission is trying to expect from us because these are thematic essays and there's a core in that. And if we catch that and write relevant things related to that, it can be possible that our essay is not very lengthy. It's short, but if it's relevant, I think we can score good. And for example, if I would like to give, suppose 2 years back, an essay was asked that poverty anywhere is a threat to prosperity everywhere. So in this essay, students start writing what is poverty or causes of poverty, which is and this is where we get distracted from the main theme of the essay. Here, the theme is like, suppose there's poverty in some countries like Afghanistan, and then people take on terrorism and then they go on for an attack in some other country. So this is how poverty in somewhere is actually threatening prosperity in other countries. So this is the theme of the essay, but it won't work if you start writing what are the causes of poverty and how India is alleviating poverty. That is not the essay. That is not something the essay is talking about or expecting from us. So I think being relevant to the topic is very important in philosophical essays, and the theme of the essay should be caught, and that the content should be built upon that. Only that can give good scores in essay.
So one more very important things which people have or aspirants face is time management. Usually how to divide the time. How did you do? I mean, what was your mantra for time management? How did you kept yourself motivated, and how did you do that?
I think before prelims, and especially for those who are who will be giving their first attempt, I think it is very important to read the basic books, and I think you can devote as much as time possible for them. If I were to say about me, I actually read Indian polity, modern history, and environment, the basic books for all these three subjects for a month. For a whole month, I used to I read them, and but it was so I read them so in such a good manner that when I was to give second attempt, I had only 15 days and I did not have time to read them again. But still, I could clear the prelims. So it is very important that during your first attempt, you build the basics, you clear your concepts and build the basics and devote as much as time possible to these basic books. And after that, I think you can then go on for value additions and preparing for mains. And even in that also, it's also important that how comfortable people are with their optionals, because some have optional which is their graduation subject, so it's very easy for them to cover the subject. But for yes, if it's something not related to it, then I think optional should be given should be a main thing. It should be prioritized, and time should be devoted to it. So this is how you can manage time, and it's all depends on the person that how much what subject he or she is more comfortable in, and what are the strengths and weaknesses in that particular subject. Because for some Indian economy is their strength, but not polity. For some history is their strength, not environment. So it all depends on that, and according to that, one should prioritize. This is what I can say.
Actually, that's also the major problem which many aspirants face. I know one of my student, he liked IR. So he actually watched some 30 documentaries in last 1 week about Israel-Palestine issue and all. So then he had some itna dekh liya. So I said, bhai, iski zarurat nahi. You're not, appearing for a PhD exam.
Right.
And this exam is, you have to be jack of all trade. So you need to be good in every subject, but you don't need to be an expert in few subjects and you ignore the other subjects. So it's about, it's not about that what interests you. It's about how you have to crack the exam. And for that, you have to give equal importance to all the subjects. So that's the major problem, many people face. So regarding prelims, it has become very unpredictable. And this year also what I'm seeing is many of the rankers, they are not able to clear prelims, and so many of these veterans who had been clearing prelims over the years, they are also failing in prelims. So, and some people even say कि भाई prelims के लिए अब क्या पढ़ना, it's become unpredictable, solve ही करना है जाके वहाँ पे. So what do you think? How did you approach the prelims? I mean, what was your strategy for the prelims?
Yes. I think prelims is getting a bit difficult, or maybe more trickier. But sticking to basics is very important. The weightage on basic subjects and basic questions has not decreased. Indian polity, Indian economy, modern history, environment, they still hold the same weightage they had before. Only the nature of current and contemporary issues and the questions related to them is changing. So I think firstly, major focus on basic books is very important. And also, the questions on these subjects are easier compared to others. So one cannot afford to make mistakes in these questions. And if I were to analyze this unpredictable, unpredictable nature of the paper, I think the commission wants us to clearly know some basic things which cannot be ignored. For example, there are basic questions related to constitution, related to freedom of speech, right to equality. Now, these questions one cannot afford to make a mistake. And therefore, if I were to say suppose from 100 questions, 10 questions are very abstract, they are very vague, because the commission wants us to focus on those 50, 60 questions, which we can try, which we have to make them right. So I think one can ignore such vague questions, focus on the basics, and only basics can sail us through, because that's the only certainty. If one says that it is becoming unpredictable, then actually one should focus on what has been remaining predictable, and what is still the basics, and the commission also cannot ignore it. So I think focusing on that can really help in prelims.
Well, I think that's what I'm saying. It's not a CBSE board, right? You don't have to score 95% marks to get into Sense Defense. I mean, last year the cutoff was 44%. So, which is much less. And I've seen people, aspirants, कि ये question पूछ लिया कुछ, so they started reading some, journal that, up to UPSC यहाँ से भी पूछ रहा है. So that is, I mean, ultimately there will be some 15, 20 questions which will be completely out of the box.
And there are some questions that the commission doesn't expect you to solve, and they are meant to be there so that the difficulty of the exam is being maintained. But yes, there are also questions which are easier in nature and that need to be solved. And I think one should not afford to make mistakes in those questions. And if that is done, I think prelims is easy for people who, do that.
So coming to some certain lighter questions. So, I mean, what was your sleeping pattern? I mean, were you the night owl who used to, study till the morning, or whether you woke up early? What was your kind of, routine?
I was certainly not a night owl. I was an early bird, maybe, because I used to wake up early and try to cover subjects that are, I think, require more heavy learning. Because for me, as the day passes, my energy levels go down, and I cannot remember things that are read after that. So I used to read current affairs in evenings or maybe before I go to sleep. But when there were heavy conceptual learning, maybe from agriculture or concepts from polity or economy, I used to do that in the morning session of the day itself.
Yeah, I think that is also something which many other rankers told me, because night owl, I mean, see, this exam requires so much time. And if your sleeping pattern will be disturbed, that will definitely have effect on your health, on your appetite. And definitely, so as Anay has also said, that it is very important that you sleep on time and you wake up on time, because night wala jo pattern rehta hai, it can work for 1 week or 2 weeks. But when you are preparing for 1 or 2 years, I think that is not something which will increase productivity in you. And
Exactly.
regarding, yeah.
And the exam is not just a test of your knowledge. It is testing every thing about our personality. And this comes from everything that we do in our day-to-day routines. So it's important that we stay healthy and we remain fit, so that, because mental fitness also matters, because endurance, patience, mental attitude, mental firmness, strength is all being checked in the exam through various. It's checked in tacit way, but it is being checked. So yeah, it is important to stay healthy, and one can do that in whatever way they want.
Also, one very important thing, when I was also preparing, I saw many of my batchmates and all these people. Somebody is in Paris, somebody is in US, and you are staying in a small room in old Randar Nagar. So, I mean, sometimes you feel bad that, everybody is enjoying around me. I am the person who is, studying the whole day. So how did you keep yourself motivated? Ki bhai, baki log itna अच्छा अच्छा कर रहे हैं. They're having these good corporate jobs. Since you belong to, I mean, you did your BTech from a really good college. So how did you kept yourself motivated? क्या मतलब Facebook वगैरह बंद कर दिया था, phone वगैरह बंद कर दिया था? What did you do
Right.
in these 3 years?
Yeah, I did that. The day I decided that I would resign, and I resigned, and I started preparing for civil services. I actually uninstalled my WhatsApp Messenger, Facebook. I never used also. Instagram I uninstalled. So I think it's very important to stay away from social media, because it distracts you. It not only consumes your time, but also it distracts you mentally. Your focus on the exam is diverted, and I think it's actually, it's not so big deal if you are staying away from social media for a couple of years or 3 years in the preparation time, because it's actually it can be worth doing it. And when it comes to seeing your colleagues, your peers doing extremely well in their areas, I think I have a suggestion for all. And this is what I realized in these 2.5 years that I spent in the preparation. Uh, I think if you want to complete your masters or go to a B school, do your MBA or MTech or anything like that, I think one should go for it and then come to civil services, because anyways, if you think that you will clear this exam just after your BTech, then you can also clear it after your post graduation. And but the only thing is, you're risking everything. After spending 3-4 years in this, you won't be having a master's degree if you start directly preparing, nor you would be employable enough to go back to the field from where you came. So it's important that you do your masters, do your MBA, and then come into this. I've seen many people whose strategy I have followed have come from actually good colleges, like I am Ahmedabad, and he actually prepared from the college itself. So it's actually very important that you first focus on your career, to try to secure your career first, and then try to enter, and then decide to enter this so-called uncertain exam. That is what I learned from this exam, and I would recommend everyone to do that.
As many people also say, unpredictable Public Service Commission of India.
Right.
So what Anay is saying is really a good advice, that they should always be, or you should always have a safe exit option, because ultimately there are just 700 seats. Not everybody will get the job. I mean, there are 15 lakh aspirants. Not everybody will get the job. and there are very talented people who are, missing the bus. So you should always have, and probably 3-4 साल के बाद आप इसको CV पे नहीं लिखोगे कि आपने 3 interview दिए हैं. Ultimately,
Exactly.
you are not getting any experience, any diploma certificate. The only thing now you can get is that there is this UPSC has started something where in this sports department, the people who have given interviews, they can apply for this deputy director post. That's the
Yeah, but
only.
even there, the seats are not more than 10 or 20.
Yeah, they are very less. Almost 2,000 people are there for
Right.
like 5-7 seats. So
Right. And
that's.
I think it doesn't make a very large difference if you enter the services a couple of years later. So it's important that if you are interested, if one is interested in completing his or her post graduation, they do that first and then enter into this.
So coming to the next question, which is that how did Civilsdaily platform help you during your preparation?
Yes. Actually, I would like to tell all viewers that last year, Sajal sir himself had started a free initiative for people who had appeared for interview but couldn't make it to the final list. So in that particular initiative, he actually he had telephonic conversations to guide and tell value addition in general studies paper, especially how to be more relevant in that particular paper. And I was fortunate enough to enroll in that free initiative, and it actually helped me. I got valuable feedback from him, and in this way, I think I benefited from Civilsdaily platform.
So one last question I want to ask is that what advice would you give to people who are appearing in this year mains and who have just started preparation, who will be giving the next attempt?
Yes. For people who are just starting to prepare, I think my only suggestion is that you actually go back and watch videos, read blogs of people who have cleared this exam. People have written extensive blogs about how they approach this exam. And I think that will help you to strategize your own plan. It will help you to see what works for you, what won't work for you, and it will help you to create your own strategy, and that only will be very beneficial for you. For example, I never read newspapers because I had read people who cleared this exam with very good ranks and who said that I never read newspapers. So I thought, yes, I'm doing the right thing because people have done this, and there's no harm in following this. I think it's very important to go and see these videos, these blogs, and make your own strategy for people who are just starting to prepare. And for people who would be giving mains this year, I think it's very important to start answer writing right from now. I think don't wait for the results of the prelims. It's important you be ahead of your competition, and it's very important that while writing answers, you try to stand out because everyone is reading the same content, people are referring to same sources, and there's no dearth of it. So what can make you stand out is how you present your answers and how extraordinary content you write in it, and that comes from simple value additions to your papers and practicing them thoroughly. So that's my only advice to all of them.
So what Anay has also said is very important, that don't follow toppers at advice blindly. I mean, there is no single strategy. Everything works differently for everyone. Probably, you should know. I mean, you see these blogs and videos, and then you make your own strategy, your own unique strategy, which is suitable for you. So it was literally a pleasure talking to you, Anay, and I think our aspirants and our viewers must have, this is technically a gold mine of knowledge here. You have shared almost about everything, pre-mains, interview, essay. So I wish you all the very, very best for your new career. And I hope that you'll make Maharashtra, your family, Civilsdaily and India proud. So all the really best for your future, Anay.
Thank you so much, sir. And the pleasure is all mine to be here at Civilsdaily and share whatever I learned. So I thank you once again. Thank you so much. And all the best to all the aspirants who are watching this.